Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of April 4th, 2011. Welcome to the new members and welcome back to the old. Thank you for being on this site. The Ask Video Mail is the place where you get to interact with the site in the best way. You can send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I sift through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think are going to benefit the most members. The Ask Video Mail is going very well and I'm having a great time doing it. Please send in your questions so that I have plenty to choose from. Also, a little bit of news, the testimonial bonus program is no longer on a news item inside the members area, but I'm going to put a permanent link to the testimonial bonus program so that everyone, whenever they come to this site, whenever they sign up, they can always participate and get 5 free days. If you want a little bit more information about that, please check out the current news item. It still has a link to it, but it's going to be moved to a permanent space on the members section of the site. And it's basically really easy. A lot of people have taken advantage of that already. I'd love it if everyone could get that 5 free days, snatch that time up. It's a really easy way to get that free time. Also, the other way to obviously get the free time on the site is to refer new members. The referral program is permanent, just like I'm going to make the testimonial bonus program permanent, but the referral program is really easy. All you have to do is just tell your friends that sign up to the site to put your username in as their referrer when they're signing up for the site, and you are instantly given free time on the site when they sign up. It's 30 days free if they sign up for a 30 or 60-day renewal, and 60 days free, instantly credited to your subscription if they sign up for a year account. So that's it. That's just the news. So thanks for being here. Oh, there's going to be. I teased you guys last month. I said there's going to be a big news item. I'm still working on it, and it's almost ready to announce, and I'm very excited about it. So just watch this space, and you'll see what I'm talking about when it comes out. And there's not going to be any way you're going to miss it. Okay, so let's get to the question this week. This week's question is: another great question. This question kind of has a lot to do with, or at least my answer to this question has a lot to do with workflow. With settles, what I like to do is kind of give myself a little bit of a head start in keying that settle by doing things that are kind of physical, like weight shifts, like from one foot to the other, or I'm just going to, I got out the old February 14th video mail scene, which was overlap on the spine, but the character is landing. And so I'm just going to re-key that really quickly in front of you and show you what's going on. The bottom line is this: if you are keying very pose to pose with super physical actions, or even not too physical actions, but something that just relies on body mechanics and you knowing where that center of gravity is, then that pose to pose nature is going to make your settle feel unnatural. So what I kind of do is I set those major poses, those golden poses, and when it's time to get the actual physical action going, what I'll do is I'll literally key totally straight ahead through that whole thing, but it will always be with offset controls or offset channels. All right, so let's take a look here. This is a scene that came from February 14th's Ask Video Mail, and it's basically just bloke landing on the ground. But what I wanted to point out was that you can get a really natural settle if your workflow is such that you are offsetting your keys already. If you start your scene with your physical actions being offset. So it's great for settles. Okay, settles is let's define that really quickly. Settles are when, there's a weight shift and you need to get the character back on balance before there's a moving hold. Okay, so it can happen with a pose change. With super physical actions like this one, where a character's landing on the ground, it makes a lot of sense. But I just wanted to go through this and show you how I block this so that you can see. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these keys. All right, and I know that this character, needs to be settled. Let's see here by frame 29. Okay, because then he goes into his moving hold. Okay. What I do is I set my translate and rotate keys offset as I'm working. It saves me a lot of time. So I'm just going to set a key up here, let's say by frame 7 he's landed, and I'm just going to really quickly keep an eye on my graph editor. Okay, the reason I'm doing that is because I want it to feel like it's a fast in. So I might do a little bit of tweaking to the curves right off the bat just to feel that acceleration. Okay. In fact, you know, but it does need to be a little bit at speed. I don't want to leave these feet behind. Okay. So I just set this translate key. All right. So what I'm going to do is, knowing that I want a little bit of overlap, for instance, on this spine, I'm going to go back maybe 1 frame before the impact, and then 2 frames, maybe 3 frames after the impact, I'm going to set a rotate key. All right. Only 2 frames after that am I going to set my first translate key after he landed on the ground. So as you can see, if I look at my keys, here are my translates, here are my rotates, and the 2 are keyed for now on different keyframes. All right, here I'm on translate key right now. This is a rotate, this is a translate, this is a rotate. All right, so I'm basically going straight forward through this action, and I'm going to basically increase the amount of offset between translate and rotate as I go. So it started with 1 frame right here, right before the landing. Now it's 2 frames in that lean forward. And now basically I'm going to have him just kind of anticipate this settle by having him, by making this translate key way far after. And then, as you can see, he kind of like settles down into this. In fact, I don't really like that. He looks like he's a little too far forward, and this one looks a little too far back. Okay. And then the rotation, he's going to rotate just a little bit backwards, and then settle down like this. Okay. Now it's looking right now a little bit all crunched together. It does still have like that hitchiness to it. What I then do is, knowing that there are, basically what I'm seeing is the result of keys that were already offset to begin with, I can then put keyframes and edit this animation with translate and rotate keys on the same frame. Why? Because again, I know that these are derived from offset keys to begin with. So it's not going to look the same as if I keyed these translates and rotates together from the get-go. Okay, so let's try this. Let's take a look. Wherever I love framing and deleting. So wherever there is a like a hitch that I can't really figure out, I really love to frame and delete. Okay, so I'm actually going to set a key right here on 19, set a key on 25, and delete 22. So I basically set a translate and a rotate on both of these keys, and it already feels a little bit smoother. Let me try to edit this key though and see if I can figure it out. I think it probably needs to just be a little bit more behind in the rotation. Okay, and now I'm just going to take this translate key, and like I thought, it's flat. Didn't really want it to be flat. Okay. And we might just need to edit this one just a little bit. I do this frequently. See how I'm going back and forth, just seeing what I'm getting. It's the same thing as, if you're 2D animator, just flipping back and forth. Just seeing my levels here. Okay. What I would like to do at this point is kind of make the settle a little bit more of an action. It doesn't need to be your animation magically all blending into one like seamless moment. It can be a little bit of an action. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see how things are resolving right here. I'm going to try to get him up just a little bit quicker. Let's and now let's get this all the way up. let's delete this. Let's just turn this back into a rotate key. And just a little bit more. This is now, if I'm putting a rotate key after this quote-unquote settle, it's basically overshoot, right? Okay, pretty good. I think we can go a little bit more subtle, though, with this rotation. All right, got a little bit of crazy keys going on. Let's smooth these out. Don't need that one. I could tell I didn't need that one because of the shape that it was giving me. And let's just smooth that out just a little bit. Beautiful. Okay, so what we have here is basically just a push and pull. I did a lecture 2 months ago on workflow walkthrough, and we took a shot through blocking. In workflow walkthrough part 2, we took the shot through blocking plus of the first 50 to 80 frames. Can't remember exactly what it was. And hopefully you got a little bit of a glimpse into how my workflow is open, and I always have a plan for what those keys are trying to tell. All right. I wouldn't be able to say, for instance, when I did the little bit of rotation after the true settle frame, that it was overshoot if I didn't know what all of those keys on that one frame were supposed to be. So surpassing that and knowing the fundamental of overshoot or follow through, whichever one you want to call it, I knew exactly how to edit that key when it came time to edit it. So I'm going to work just like a minute more on this shot, and we'll see what just like comes out naturally as I'm working here. This tangent is just freaking me out a little bit. I don't know why. I just don't like the shape. Don't underestimate how much, intuition you are building, editing keys and working with keyframes in terms of like their shape. You really are getting basically you're building an instinct here for sure. You're building an instinct. Unlike these keys. This is translate Z, so let's actually calm this down just a little bit. This is where he's coming forward and then he's settling right here. Sometimes it's nice to choose a keyframe. Here's a little workflow trick. Choose a keyframe in the middle of what looks like a very static section and hit frame. Because what it'll do is it'll show you, it basically zooms the graph editor in so it can show you, all right, in this little section, these are what the curves are doing. And as you can see, I mean, it's very subtle, but this curve is way overshooting on a small scale, this Z curve right here. So I'm just gonna edit this and smooth it out how I think it would naturally feel good, and I'm sure it's okay. The Y. This Y was animated mostly in panel, and I just want to see if I'm happy with how it's going. Actually, I can see that little bit of acceleration right there, so I'm just going to take that Y out right there. Maybe free this tangent a little bit, and let's see here, and just make this just a little bit smoother, backwards and forwards in the animation. This can be just a little bit smaller. Okay. Last thing I'm going to fix is his knees hyperextend right here, so we just got to fix that translate Y. He's coming just a little too high here. And we should do this in panel. Not in panel, but we should always, keep an eye on our panel when we're making an adjustment like this. Let's see here. Okay, good. All right, I already did it. Okay, and so I'm just going to call this, the final settle. What I like about it is, again, if you start with a workflow in which you are building in the fundamentals, like overlap in the spine, by offsetting those keys to begin with, especially in super physical actions like a landing or like a weight shift. It's very easy to do, and it just takes practice to get fast at it. You'll never end up with settles that look like, the animation is like locking into a position and then moving hold starts. All right? You have to blend across all of your transitions, and that's another thing. That last rotation on the body past that settle frame, basically just a tiny bit of follow through on the body past that settle frame, really tightened this up and made it look a lot better. So, and as many layers and as many different things you can bring to a stop at different timings, the better in terms of settles. So I hope this was helpful. It's a great question. Please send more questions. I love answering them, as I hope you can tell. The address to send your questions to is webmaster@kennyroy.com. Of course, I listen to them all, and I answer the ones that I feel will benefit the most people, and I'm having a great time. Thank you for being a part of the site. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.